All right. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Shells and Shadows podcast. Today, I'm here in our new Salt Lake City studio, hanging out with Ashley Rupe. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me and having me here.
Of course. I want to jump right in and talk about something we were just discussing, a group that you led recently, actually, for locals here in Salt Lake City, centered around a healing space, wellness, breathwork, sound bath. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what inspired that within you?
So the reason why I decided to, it's a LLC, a little collective I have to start that is because I needed a space when I was younger to run to. I needed a space that was safe. I needed a space where I could ask questions and get answers and not have to figure it the fuck out by myself and have support. And so I decided to jump right into that and do that for other people because it's very, very important to have a support group. And when you feel alone, you feel alone.
Yeah. Feeling like loneliness. It's like this, from when I've experienced it, it almost feels like you're sitting in the bottom of like a well and you have these walls up around you. And sometimes you don't want to let people in, but having others to push you and say, oh, here's this group I'm putting on, you should come. I feel like they can break someone out of that state where they just want to enclose themselves in that.
Yeah,
that
it's
place.
funny you bring up the well because I've been saying a lot. I feel like I'm drowning. I'm just waiting for the water to just get the tip of my hair. And so having a support group to help you navigate and not feel like you're drowning is so important. And I want to make it a public space where people don't have to feel like it's clinical. It doesn't have to always be clinical. People have a stigma against therapy because they've been judged, right? And so it's a place to simply come as you are. Come crying. Bring some snacks. Watch a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. There's a saying that a friend told me, it's like a success shared is a success doubled, but pain shared is pain halved, right?
Love that.
I mean, it's so true. When we can share, when we can relate on a human level to someone else's pain, it almost takes away some of the burden of carrying that on your own. And it's so interesting to me because it's something we all experience at different levels and degrees. Everyone's carrying around some form of wound, right?
Absolutely.
And yet we have a hard time recognizing that in one another. When you're walking down the street, you're sitting in traffic, you're walking through a busy town center, you're passing all these people and they all have their own stories. They're all carrying different things. And yeah, you just don't talk about it.
That's the problem, is no one talks about it. No one's people are just scared to talk about their inner feelings, and it's sad.
Yeah.
Because they're scared of being judged. They're scared of, oh my gosh, I'm vulnerable. I need help. I don't need help. Why do I need help? I'm okay, right? I'm good. But everybody needs something there, and you can only be strong for so long. And when I did do the group, what stood out to me was everybody said that they were lonely.
Wow.
Everybody. And the people that were there, they said they wanted to come there to make friends, come exactly as they are, and just not have to pretend to be somebody that they're not. And just have no expectations. And that's exactly what it was. And it was the most beautiful thing to be a part of that, because the experience I had the day before with a car accident and fainting, I was surprised I was alive to make it to my own event. Any normal person would probably cancel that.
Right.
Yeah. And so, but I knew that I needed to show up for them. I want to continue to do it. It's important. I think something that's also not talked about enough is men's mental health. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. You talk about wearing masks. I love the idea of removing the mask of masculinity right? Being able to express ourselves as men. I think that's a fully integrated man is one who, yeah, maybe he's not overcome by his emotions, can still show up as like the warrior archetype, but is still able to move through it, and like that like lover archetype who's in touch with his emotions. And yeah, this is something I've felt personally, because I've been involved in like men's work, men's groups, and we have this like unspoken belief that it's like a noble thing to like carry your pain and like hold it in, like almost become like a martyr of sorts.
And that's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, it is bullshit. But I think as we create more opportunities for men to do stuff like this, whether it's in the format that you did it or someone else's like method, right?
Yeah.
It's an invitation. And sometimes that's all it takes, right? Is that invitation, that calling.
Absolutely. But it also takes like them willing to put that risk in and like be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that's inner work.
Yeah. What was your experience? You said like, yeah, a lot of the people that came to your event were men. What did they need most from the experience specifically?
They needed someone to hear their story, someone to understand, someone to listen with no judgment. And our intention was to do breath work that day. And so they all got to really ground themselves. And we had beautiful eye masks and incense and sage and all of the things. And so they got to like actually regulate their nervous systems to, okay, I'm here in the present, because we don't live in the present.
Mm-hmm.
Who does? Let's be honest, we can all pretend that we do, but we don't. Our brain's always in another thought. And so everyone was brave enough to share, and their stories were so impactful. I'm alone. I have been denied work. I am a divorced single parent, and I've been struggling with addiction, or, you know, there's so many different aspects to life that people need support on, and they don't know where to go.
Yeah.
You don't know where to go. I didn't know where to go.
Sure.
So I figured it out. And that's why I like to share these resources and share my knowledge. The point is to not be diagnosed.
Yeah.
The point is to have a peer support system. So like it's actually a human being and you're not looked at like a piece of paper.
Right. You say you didn't know how to figure it out, so you had to figure it out on your own. What did that look like for you? What did you have to figure out?
I had to figure out a lot of things on my own. Growing up, I had a rough life. My parents got divorced when I was young, and oldest sibling, so I took on a lot. I have one brother who would go back and forth with me, and it was not a good dynamic between my parents, and it's so detrimental. And so when you have families that are so different, one is completely LDS, one is drinking and struggling with alcoholism and getting tattoos and really just struggling, and then my stepmom's abusive. And so I had to learn how to literally survive. And that's why I mean like everything is because I didn't even get the opportunity to graduate high school.
Really?
Yeah, because I didn't have the support system. I was the oldest. My mom, unfortunately, was struggling with her alcoholism. Had a breathalyzer in the car. She wouldn't take me to school, you know. I would make sure I went to driver's ed, so I had my driver's license. And so when I tell you, like, I learned everything by myself, I mean, I'm not going to say everything. I learned from people, but I figured it out from everybody. Like taxes, who teaches you about that? Nobody. But another thing is like, I've always had to figure out, because my parents have never had answers for me when I ask for help.
Yeah.
Or ask questions. They don't ever have answers, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And when you're, especially like being a teenager, it's such an important age. You're like conscious of like the person you are and are becoming, right? And it's confusing because
it was so confusing.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, like when we're younger, like, I saw this very interesting fact that like when between the ages of like 0 and 6, our brain waves are operating in like a theta state, which is essentially like a dream state. And so when we're younger, it's like we're living in a constant dream state, and then you grow up a little bit and you start to become very self-aware, and then that's when all the questioning happens, right? As a teenager, I'm sure you can relate. I mean, everyone's been a teenager.
Would not go back.
No, definitely not. I mean, at least for me, it was my most challenging time, but
Yes.
You need those people around you. Did you feel like you had mentors, anyone who stood out that could give you those answers?
No. Not until I was 16. I attempted suicide, and I went to get help, obviously. And I had found this amazing therapist, and I still see her to this day.
Wow. That's amazing.
She has shown up for me in more ways than my family ever has.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I've lost people in my life to suicide. And the saddest part is that there wasn't that person that was there to stop them and maybe be the mentor they needed. Doesn't matter what age, right?
Yeah.
I've lost a friend who was 18 and a grandfather who was 65. The equation of this like loneliness epidemic isn't solved by being alone without anyone else offering a solution. I think it takes those people, and it's extremely tragic. So I definitely feel that when you're talking about it.
Yeah, and recently, like, I've had a rocky relationship with my dad my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Because of my stepmom.
Yeah.
I will blame her to the end of this day. I will put that on everything. I'll say it to her face. She ruined a relationship with my dad that I'll never have ever again. So not having anyone to literally look up to have to figure everything out, and then still show up and pretend like everything's fine,
Mm-hmm.
is crazy when you have nobody to talk to about what's actually going on inside.
Right.
Like, my dad doesn't know anything about me. Never cared to, So emotions weren't something we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's caused a lot of pain in my life because of people's words and me not being, I had no role models.
Yeah.
I had no role models. 0. It's funny because I was recently talking to a therapist, and she asked me, do you even know what a healthy relationship looks like? I said, honestly, no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be so for real, I don't. She's like, sad. It's like I see all these parents like show up for their kids in different ways. Yes, I'm an adult. Okay, whatever. But words stick, and there are things that I will never forget, even from being a teenager to this day. And it also takes accountability on the other end. But when you lose that support system because you choose your mental health over even trying because it's not worth it, it's scary.
So you had to put your mental health before this like relationship, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's
Not only with my father, but with my mom recently.
really,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not an easy decision to make.
No, and it's sad because, for an example, like my mom, she sells me on like social media. She sent me this video, and it's this girl talking about how the therapists have in the world have made it so people my age have disowned their parents because we've processed our traumas. We now stand up for ourselves, and this video blew my mind. Blew my mind. This woman's opinion blew my mind.
Interesting.
It's because it was basically like, I'm your mom, and then like, though those are things like unconditional love doesn't mean unconditional tolerance. But guess what? That goes both ways.
Yeah, it absolutely does. You were talking a moment ago about the things that we don't speak about and how they cause us harm when they remain unspoken. Part of my whole point of this podcast, the shadow and shells and shadows, comes from the idea that there are feelings and ideas and experiences that are unspoken and live beneath the surface. We have shadows as individuals, and there's collective shadows of families, organizations, countries, right?
Yeah.
Where there's light, there is also dark. The two are not separate, but if we can learn to dance with the shadow, if we can learn to be curious and have a relationship with that part of ourselves and the people around us that is accepting and not like repressive, that's when healing can start to happen. What do you think is the biggest shadow that you've wrestled with in your life? I know that's a
shadow. Do we mean trial? Do we mean feeling, emotion?
I'd say in the sense of maybe like a part of yourself that has been hard to reconcile and been hard to face, but maybe you have, and that's made all the difference.
I'm trying to think of like things I faced. I'm trying to think of how to even word it.
I can share something.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know how to word it. I'm
sorry. No, you're good. So like for me, when I was a teenager, I went through a very hard time. My parents, I love my parents. I don't blame them for this, but they moved us to moved out of the country, and it was the most isolating experience I've ever had in my life. Being very alone, 13 years old, difficult time. Kind of, yeah. It's weird when like being the American is the thing that people used to push you away, because I had never, I'd grown up here, very fortunate in this country, and it was a whole new experience. And I feel like in a way I turned on myself. I feel like you don't have yourself if you can't look yourself in the mirror, then what do you have? And I didn't have that, and I just felt myself, without really being able to control it, start to sabotage my life, my relationships, and descend into a very dark place. And it took a lot of work and going through residential treatment to really move through this and process it and rebuild what I had lost in a new way. And I came out, I'd say, a better person than I was, but that shadow is that feeling of that very dark place that I feel lives in me in some way, that is very easy to push away and be like, no, that's not who I am anymore. And there's a truth to that, like not identifying with those parts, but also being able to say, now that I'm in this place, what is being asked of me? How am I supposed to hold this part of myself like a child that was never held and nurtured, and that in the moment where that pain was instilled, how do I face that? And so that's kind of been the work I've been doing. And when I feel myself slip into like old patterns, that's the shadow work I return to. I hope that.
Yeah, I hear that. So in the last like year specifically, I've put in a lot of like self-work on myself because I had noticed a lot of cycles, a lot of toxicity, and a lot of like, I'm so done. Like I have to take control. And a part of that was like what you said, it was facing myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And so what I started doing was recording myself every single day singing in the car.
Cool.
Because if I can't look at myself in the mirror, then what's the point? Like, why would somebody else look at me with confidence, right? Mm-hmm. Why would someone else trust me if I can't trust myself? And so I've put in a lot of work in the last year. I've been nurturing that part of me that didn't get nurtured, and I've been talking about things on my own little podcast. It's more of like, I call it, it's made for me, but you can listen to it if you want. I love it. It's cool. Good advice, but I listen to it. It's myself giving myself advice, and that's been about a year since I started doing that. I did stop being consistent with it, which I am sad about, but realizing what I deserved in life and what I had already been through in life made me really gain a lot of confidence by putting in that work and nurturing my younger self. And whether that was writing music or making my podcasts in my room all alone in the dark because I think it's fun. I'm getting my feelings out there, and I'm getting a story out there that might help somebody one day. But the shadow is, I had to break some cycles. Mm-hmm. And just because I broke the cycles, there's still pain behind it. But I do know I made the right choice. And 100%, you have to face yourself and accept what's going on, and also don't be scared to ask for help along the way. I mean, myself, I just recently got out of inpatient myself, and it was because I reached a breaking point. And I'm a positive person. Like, nobody would know that I was even there if I didn't tell them, and I'm not ashamed of it.
Yeah,
I needed a break. And it should be more acknowledged that it's okay to go take a break. Work can wait.
And that was a choice you made.
100%. I actually was at Primary Children's with my son because he has a chronic cough, and this cough just sounded a little bit worse. And so I took him in. He got tested for RSV, and he came back positive, but his oxygen level was okay. And so I was already in Salt Lake. I called my mom. And I said, hey, I think I need to go get myself checked in, because the night before I self-harmed, and I hadn't done that in over 10 years.
Wow.
And so that's how I knew I needed help. And my mom's response was, really, Ashley? I'm so disappointed. You've been doing so well. And so I figured it out. Made sure my son was okay. I felt like a terrible mom leaving him, but he was taken care of. My daughter was okay. It was a choice to be there. And I actually had no support besides my beautiful, sweet grandmother and a few friends that I'm forever grateful for. But I went by choice, and I stand by that 100%, and I don't think people should be ashamed of it.
Yeah, I also think it takes a great deal of humility to realize that we're not invincible, and to be able to surrender at times to say, yeah, like this is what I need to do right now so that I don't go further down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, and I knew that at some point with the point I was at, that it very easily could have gone down the rabbit hole. And being a single mother, and with one of my parents or one of my children's parents not being around, it was like, do I go or not go? Like, it's either I go and I break, or I don't go and I break. And but like, still, I'm still responsible for the household, right? And so I missed work, but I still had to take care of myself. And it was hard. It was really hard. I didn't want to be there. Once I got there, I was like, oh, I think I made a mistake. I should go home.
Was it a mistake?
No, it wasn't. I just, don't ever have support like I need. And so I feel dismissed very easily. And so I advocate. And when I feel dismissed, I get defensive because I've been dismissed a lot. And so I'm loud now. And I just didn't, at that point in my state of mind, didn't feel like they took me seriously.
Yeah.
And so I was like, can I just go? But I had some supportive friends that said, you're not leaving. It's not the right thing to do. You need to be there. And I'm not going to lie to you, though. It was really hard not to have anybody else to call besides like my grandma for a family.
Yeah.
I have 7 siblings.
You have 7 siblings?
Yeah.
Were you able to talk to any of them?
Oh, none of them talked to me besides. So they range from 15 to 21. And then my stepsister is like 32.
Okay.
Yeah. No, 3 of them are with my dad. Mm-hmm. And so there's no relationship there. The last thing that they said to me was that I was dead to them. And so they won't let them have a relationship with me. And my brother that's the most like me, he's 17. Love him to death. And he's doing his own thing. Cool. And my sister, I love her so much, but she hasn't been showing up for me. And I fainted, not just with the car accident. 3 months before that, I also fainted, just in the middle of a conversation with my daughter that I don't even recall. And I actually broke my tailbone. Wow. And so I physically couldn't move. And my 6-year-old daughter calls my sister, who's down the street at work. It's not open yet. Says, hey, Auntie, Mommy's hurt. Can you take me to school? She's like, can you find someone else? Or, I'm sorry, honey, I can't come help you. And that broke me. And then I got a text saying, if you really can't find anyone to come help, I'll come help, but I really need the money. Wow. And so we haven't talked since that, really. Mm-hmm. And she was one of my best friends. But if you're not gonna, that's selfish. That's not a family. I love her. Don't get me wrong. She got to grow on her own wave, and I'm sorry, you're not gonna not show up for my kids. And then my other brother, he's the one that I grew up with, going back and forth with. He's pretty closed off. He has his own wife, dogs, and house, and plumber, and successful. And he never talked about our childhood. We've never talked about our childhood. I don't know what he knows, what he remembers. I took a lot of it. So he's pretty quiet, and I feel bad because I wonder if I took his voice away from him. But I also didn't want him to feel the things that I felt growing up. And then my stepsister, I obviously don't see. She lives in Brooklyn. I love her, but we never lived together. But having 7 siblings.
Yeah.
And a stepmom, a stepdad, a mom and a dad, grandparents galore. And I have one grandmother that I know I can call, and she was my answer.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I feel your pain hearing you talk about it. I really do. Um, I'm sure you know this, but it was probably the right decision then to, you know, check yourself in and regroup before things got worse. And that's not an easy decision to make. Personally, I didn't make that decision for myself. I had other people make it for me.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's easier, right? When you have no choice and you're just kind of placed somewhere and said, like, deal with it, right? But to make that on your own, I feel like often is harder.
It was really hard for me to actually make that choice because I've been inpatient more than once, involuntarily as well.
Okay.
In 2020, I lost my grandfather to a stroke during COVID, and I would say he was like my most like dad figure ever, like the most amazing guy. I ended up living a block away from him my daughter's first year of life, and I ended up having like a psychosis episode, they want to call it. I like to call it an awakening because I'm going to be so real with you. I remember everything that I did. Was it right? Was it a little weird? Yes. But
An awakening in what way?
an awakening of just like my grandpa was passing away. He's a hardcore, like he believed in like psychic, like unicorns. And I just like felt so much. I don't know. It was awakening of like a purpose for me.
Yeah.
I guess like I had to show my mom something. Like I had to teach my mom a lesson. Like it was just a weird experience for me. And so I wasn't doing anything crazy. I really wasn't. I promise. But when your family calls the cops on you over and over and over and over and over again, they're going to take you to the hospital eventually, right? So I was put inpatient involuntarily 3 times. One stay was 10 days. It was like jail. And so it was hard for me to make that choice because I have not been inpatient for 6 years.
Yeah.
And that was a big goal for me, like a big thing for me to be good for that long. And I'm not saying like not being good is a bad thing, but like that I was able to maintain myself and my kids and the traumatic things that happened to me
for 6 years
for that long. And then it took nothing. Well, not nothing, obviously. It took all of that but it took years.
Right.
And so I felt guilty, felt sad. And then I felt worse because I was being told that I was disappointed. And so it's like, did I make the right choice? I know I did.
Yeah.
But it was very hard to make.
Yeah, I don't think the way to look at it for anyone is to say, well, I broke my streak of 6 years, right? It's easy for us to do that in our minds, be like, oh man, like I'm exactly where I was. But you could also look at it and in the entirety of 6 years, this happened once, right? Over time, those gaps of time increase, right? Whether it's about like a serious mental health condition or just a habit you're trying to break, it ranges. This could be about not eating junk food, or it can be about, not falling into like suicidal ideation. Either one. And the more we can increase that gap, I feel, between relapses of sorts, if you want to call it, the more we're like empowering ourselves to see that, hey, like I got 6 years under my belt. Hell yeah, right?
Yeah.
And there's a different way to look at it.
It's a perspective thing for sure.
I think that makes a difference though.
You're right, yeah. Perspective is something that I try to implement in my life. I actually have a tattoo right here in my arm. It's called the seed moon, or the growth moon. It symbolizes like no matter what hardships you go through, you're always going to grow through it.
Mhm.
And to have perspective on everything, because it's not just one way. Like, it's the yin and the yang, right?
Right.
There's a good and bad and bad and the good. It's all about how you look at it.
Yeah.
But something people also don't understand is that there's so many different perspectives. It's because we're all different.
Yeah.
And so my perspective could be completely different and your perspective could be completely different. That doesn't mean we need to get in an argument about it,
Mhm.
right? So perspective and understanding the other side of the perspective, that doesn't mean you have to believe in it. But understanding it and saying, I hear you, makes the world of a difference. And I also have another tattoo over here that says, every flower must grow through dirt.
Yeah.
Anything that blossoms has to start at the seed, right? And so it's just a growing process over and over and over again. And maybe that plant needs a little bit more water some days. Maybe your cup's empty, but you're still growing. As long as you show up, you wake up and try, that you're gonna bloom. But guess what? Flowers don't bloom all year.
True. Seasons of life too,
It's
right?
Seasons of life. So just because you have one bad season, one bad month,
Mhm.
or, I'm not looking down at myself for getting help. It's hard to deal with that on top of all the other stress.
Sure.
I'm not ashamed of it at all, despite what my family says or doesn't say.
You're reminding me of another saying, and I don't know exactly how it goes, but something about like the deeper the roots, the top, like the higher the tree.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, again, I guess that plays into the shadow work of the more you're willing to descend into those like the dirt, the dark places,
Those deeper emotions, those deeper feelings, those deeper thoughts, and like know them.
Yeah.
And feel them.
Right.
And learn from them.
Right.
And don't stay stuck in that. Mm-hmm. You're good.
And then the higher you're able to ascend in whatever way that means to you. And like using that like analogy, if that tree does not have, if it's not firmly planted in those roots, a little bit of wind will knock it over, right?
Yes.
What has been, so you mentioned an awakening that you've had, and like different, like talk about like psychic powers. And my aunt is a psychic medium, so I come from my parents are also very spiritual people, so like I have a whole like I call myself, and same with my dad, like spiritual mutts, right? We kind of just like absorb a lot of different ideas and practices from all over. What has helped you in that sense through the most difficult times when maybe you can't rely on people around you, but could you call on either something deep within yourself or something like a higher order, higher power?
I believe that there's something out there. I believe that there's a higher power. I believe in something bigger than us, 100%. Mm-hmm. And knowing that the hard things don't always stay that way, it's just temporary, is comforting to me, because they've always been temporary. They might linger in you, but the full-on emotion is temporary, right? It's a temporary feeling. So something I like to say randomly is, don't make a stupid choice over a temporary emotion, mm-hmm. right? And things are temporary, emotions are temporary, but working through it, you got to know how to compose yourself and work through those emotions. And whatever you believe in, I mean, I did do this most amazing like psychotherapy with a medium once when I was younger, when my Nana passed away. And it was the most amazing experience because I got to like connect with my Nana. Mm-hmm. And then I got into like oracle cards and crystals and all of the things, and my family thought I was crazy.
I've been there.
Oh my gosh. And so that's actually one of the reasons why my mom kept calling the cops on me, is because I was reading cards.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, my grandpa had just passed away. Like, I was feeling a lot of spirituality. Like, it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
And to be told I was crazy kind of made me give up on it for a little bit. But I believe that there's a path in life, and everybody's path is different. And this one time I did do DMT when I was younger.
Sick.
Okay. I was 18, I was an adult, okay. And that changed my whole entire perspective on life. Because I broke through. It's not something that a lot of people talk about. And I just laid there, and my whole life flashed before my eyes, like my past, my present, my future, the now, whatever. And I was crying at first, and laughing and crying and laughing. And there was someone in there trying to talk to me, but I wasn't ready to know what my life's purpose was yet. Mm. I would compare it to like a morph suit guy, like completely faceless, like he's just like talking to you with his hands. He's like trying to give you direction.
I'm probably not using English. Like, did you hear like physical like words?
No.
Yeah, like probably not in English.
No, there was like no words. He was just like showing me. Like,
right.
That was the first time in my entire life that I saw happiness. Mm. So I felt happiness for the first time. I know it's out there. That gave me hope. Like, and then I realized along the way that my life's purpose is to help people. And I realized that when my grandfather passed away. Wow. And so I believe that's when he did pass, that whatever people want to believe in, the spirituality passed on to me.
Yeah.
And it was very overwhelming to not have anyone like understand it. But he would have understood it. And like, I raised $10,000 for his funeral in my awakening, in my psychosis. Like, tell me how I do that, right? And I was basically sleeping, from what it sounds like. And so I believe he passed on something to me. And it means I'm always protected. So maybe my grandpa is my higher power. But I forgot what I was saying.
Well, I do want you to know that you're speaking on a podcast and on a platform with listeners who do understand and don't think that that's crazy. To feel that there, again, like, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, right?
Yeah.
When he passed, he didn't just disappear. He may not have been available for you to see in physical form, right? We're very limited, like, to our, we take in information through our senses and are processing it, and then we have this idea of, okay, like, this is real.
Yeah.
Think about unbounded consciousness. We have glimpses of that, right? You had a glimpse of that in your experience and the bliss of it. But we have no idea. We can't say for certain that, oh yeah, when someone passes, like, we put their body into the ground and there they go.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer that there's more to the picture, and that an energy transfer happens in that moment. And so you're not crazy for thinking that.
I truly believe that his energy transferred to me. I was very in tune with myself. Like, I got to go find me. I raised $10,000 for my grandpa's funeral, and I was also going through a lot at the same time. So I don't know how I did it, and I know it's because he helped me. And like, the readings that I was doing were so crazy. Not crazy is in a bad way, like crazy good. Like, he was telling us that everything's gonna be okay. Like, I was just, everything's good. Like, I have a voicemail from him still to this day that I will forever say that you will always be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll get so mad at me for saying this, but my daughter he has many great grandchildren, but she was his favorite for sure. And I believe my daughter has the same senses. And so during this time when he passed away, she was about 2. And she was so in tune as well. And so it was interesting to see, because he always told me she was special. And she's special. She's intelligent. She's very smart. And so to me, just knowing and having that comfort that like my grandpa believed in it, and like I believed in it,
Mm-hmm.
to this day, like I believe that I carry that, but I've lost that side of me because I've been told I'm crazy,
Yeah.
But my grandpa, when he passed, he told me my life's purpose, and it was to help people.
Yeah.
Because that's what he did. He gave his whole life helping people.
You got to hold on to that then,
100%.
You got to cling to that with everything you have, right? People listening probably get sick of me sharing this quote, but I'm going to do it every single time. And it's a quote that came came from Dr. Viktor Frankl, who survived some of the worst things that human beings have had to endure, in the Holocaust, in a concentration camp. Lost his wife, his unborn child, and all of his family. And the last thing he had was this manuscript in his jacket pocket for a book he wanted to write. And even that was taken from him. And so he spent the rest of his time in the camps envisioning that day when he would stand in front of a lecture hall and speak about his book and the concepts in it. And that was his why. That was the thing that he held on to when other people around him were dying because they didn't have that thing to hold on to. And he believes that that's part of what saved him. And so the line is, he who has a why to live can bear almost any how.
Love that.
And I go further to say that once you find that why, again, hold on to it, cling to it with everything you have, your entire being, because no one can take that from you. That's the last of human freedoms, right? To choose your own way and to hold on to that. So yeah,
100%. And
definitely.
I think that's why my Nana too, I did a nonprofit when I was 16 for her. They've always taught me, like, this is who I am. Like, I want to help people. I love sharing my story. I love it. Some people hate that I talk about my life. I don't give a shit, quite frankly. I'm going to share my story. I'm going to talk about it because it's going to help somebody. And so, like, genuinely, that's all I want to do. That's all I want to do is show up for people when I can, when they need me, not be overwhelmed, but have a space so I can do that and be a place that my grandpa would have been so proud of. He still would be. But a place where he would have even hung out. Because my favorite thing my grandpa would do would be get a Sobe from the gas station and eat potato logs on the couch. But guess what? He's a great storyteller. He would record tapes of grandpa's fairy tales that I still have to this day. He's still on YouTube to this day, and so it would have been a place for him to come hang out. My little brother, if he's on the spectrum, he has gone through lots of struggles in bullying and not being accepted in public school, and he's just now doing so well. He's 17 years old. He got kicked out of school in kindergarten or first grade, and so to show up, because I have all this life experience, I have all this knowledge, I can help with addiction, trauma, grief, you name it. parenting, kids on the spectrum, life.
Right.
I think it would be so meaningful to not just me, because it is a place that I need, but it's a place I want to facilitate. It's a place that I want to make safe for other people. And I think that following through with that is going to be what will be my life's journey. So.
And it's not that you've gained all this knowledge just from reading books or learning about it in theory. Like when you've been to those dark places, those difficult to face places within yourself and within the world, you have the ability to connect to that within other people. And sometimes it does take someone who was been there to say, put a hand on that person's shoulder and be like, hey, like, you're not alone. I've been here too. And not everyone can say that, but the people who can, I think it comes with like an obligation, right? Like a duty of sorts, a responsibility to extend that like loving hand to others, because you know what it's been like to be down there.
100%. And I also know how it feels to be a teenager and not have it. So I'd like to have like, two different areas, adults and teenagers, because I did work in residential treatment with teenage boys on the spectrum with behavioral struggles. And they need a place to go too.
Yeah. And
I'm not saying it's a place where they can go be all the time or whatever, but when they're an adult and they need support, guess what? We're there. And it taught me how to teach different styles of people. It taught me how to like have compassion, taught me how to have patience, taught me how to actually understand people's stories and not just like listen to respond. Right?
Right.
Because people are so scared to talk about their life. They're so scared that they would rather die than face what they've gone through. So if you can literally just help them with one thing, maybe it might be going through their mail or their email that day, I'm a supporting hand for you. I'll be right here. Because that sucks sometimes to have to do things by yourself. Sometimes I just want someone to come sit at my house and watch me clean because I don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because being alone is so lonely. There's this one song, it's like, love is not easy, but being lonely, or love is not easy, but being lonely is twice as tough. And
real.
So I think that gives people an escape to find meaningless connections.
Yeah, true.
Because loneliness it's probably one of the worst feelings in the entire world. If I would have to say an emotion, that would be probably like the feeling of loneliness. Probably one of the worst feelings.
Right. We're not meant to be alone as human beings. It's not in our nature to be alone. It's important to know how to be with yourself, right? That's great. But like, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely.
100%. And I think that's a disconnect in a lot of things. It's like, I love my alone time. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the night, when I have no one to call or even human interaction besides work, it's lonely and life hits. And then that's when the thoughts come. And then you still have to show up the next day.
Yeah.
Right? You still have to show up the next day and it's like the same cycle. And so having a space you can go to, having somebody you can talk to is so important. And I honestly haven't had that consistency in my life. And besides my therapist.
Right.
And she's been the most consistent one. And that is so fucking sad. And I don't want people to feel like that.
But now you're helping to build it for others.
100%.
Through the groups you've been starting and.
Yes. So That was my first like ever shot at it. That was my very, very first event. Very first.
Mm-hmm.
The only other event I hosted was a Zoom one, and 2 people were on there.
It's so like incredibly powerful when you are able to facilitate an experience like that for someone else, and you realize that you had that in you all along, and having someone express like gratitude for the experience too, and be like, that was so helpful. I guided just a friend who I hadn't known too long. I met him like a few weeks prior, but I guided him through like a breathwork session like at the park. And he turned to me after, he was like, I haven't felt that way in so long. I haven't been able to tap into that place in a long, long time. Thank you. I got so much out of that because it was inspiring and like empowering for me to then be able to feel more confident to offer that to other people and get out of my own way and be like, yeah, this is something that people could really benefit from. I'm sure you felt that after that event, like people were thanking you, but you ought to thank them, right? You're so filled up from the experience.
I was so grateful. Like I didn't even have words because, you know, in your head, like growing up being told that you're doing everything wrong your whole life, like I was like, for sure this is gonna flop. Like at least I can lose the $60, right? But I ended up gaining friends, a group that actually wants to continue doing groups, that the squad will grow bigger, and the fact that it was on the news just shows like how important something like this is. And the reason why they reached out to me, she said, a lot of my friends have been texting me saying that they're burnt out. They don't know what to do. I saw your event and I would love to cover it. Is there any way you can meet me? I'm like, yeah, because people don't talk about burnout. I love that you brought up, you led your friend in a breathing exercise, because coping skills are not talked about.
Yeah.
And they're not respected. If someone says they need a minute, respectfully, they need a minute. If someone puts on headphones because they need to cope with music for a minute, respect it. They need to go walk around the block. It's a coping skill. It's better than drinking on the job, right? Don't you think?
Yeah.
And so you're something I teach my daughter. She's almost 7. When she's upset, Eleanor, deep breaths, blow out your candles. She knows exactly what to do. Each finger goes down. Or I'll just start going. Because people mirror you.
And she'll follow.
Well, naturally, in psychology, people mirror you. And so my students I used to work with, if I noticed that they were struggling, you mirror something that you would like them to do, right? So I'm sitting calm on the couch, I've got my legs crossed, I'm not saying anything, but I'm here for you, right? I'm modeling the behavior.
Yeah. And
so it's important to teach that, and it's not taught. And my daughter is highly emotionally intelligent. I almost thought it was a bad thing, but I don't think it is. But coping skills, 100%. Your friend said he hasn't tapped into that in a long time because he didn't realize that was a coping skill.
Correct.
Right? Do people even know what coping skills are? Genuinely.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we all have them naturally. And the question is, are they healthy or unhealthy, or just like, even just like neutral, right?
For sure. And we're all guilty of having both.
Yeah.
Unhealthy and healthy coping skills.
Yeah.
At least for me. I'll speak for myself.
No, same. I think everyone can say they have both. I think it's about like intentionally cultivating ones that you feel just like restored by instead of drained by, because there's ways to cope that in the short term is very soothing, but in the long term is very difficult. Versus like breathwork can be hard. Breathwork can
100%.
bring so much out.
So hard.
Yeah, like
I did like a whole breathwork thing, and I'm like, have I never breathed in my life?
Yeah, like I specifically, especially before going into like any cold water, I'll do like Wim Hof breathing, and So it's like intense hyperventilation for about 20 minutes with like holding.
In the water?
No, before.
Oh, I was like,
yeah.
oh man.
So like you lay down. Have you done Wim Hof
No.
breathing? So, okay, so you lay down, preferably like on the ground, and I kind of put my hand on my chest, on my stomach, and you start to breathe through your mouth in a really intense way that kind of sends like a wave of air. Kind of like
I'm
kind of
picturing it.
this
Yeah,
motion.
yeah. Yeah.
Kind of like that. And you're doing that.
I might have done that in a breathwork class.
Okay.
Yes.
You're doing it for like 30 to 50 repetitions.
I thought you were going to say minutes.
No.
Oh my gosh. I was like, how are you breathing?
No. So then you do that, and then you hold on the out breath, and it's this like stillness. You're not taking in any air because you've just like oxygenated your blood. You can hold your breath for many minutes.
Wow.
You just hold at the out breath, and then when you can't anymore, you take a huge recovery breath, hold it at the very top, and in that moment, it is almost like an altered state of an experience. You kind of you're very much flooded with a lot of just information and sensation, and you do multiple rounds of that. So that's like one round.
Okay.
It is so incredible what it does. Just 15 minutes of that. It rewires you. It rejuvenates you. And it's difficult though, right? It's one of those things where in the short term, it's difficult, but in the long term, it resets your day.
In the short term, it feels like a task that you have to do.
And it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's like, why am I laying here doing this right now?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That reminds me of I did a Reiki session, like the most mind-blowing thing in my life. I never had one. And the amount of like energy that was released from my body and like the trauma, I like quite literally could not feel my body.
Wow.
It was insane. And for someone that was like, I don't know if this is going to work. Like I believed in that stuff, I was in tears and like, we're not even talking. My eyes are closed. She knows nothing about me. And like, I physically like could not feel my body. It was like the most insane release of my entire life.
Was it like in a good way, like dissociative for like?
Yes.
Yeah,
dissociative. I kind of would maybe, I don't know if you've ever, obviously you've heard of ketamine, but I've done like S-ketamine treatments. So it's like the nasal spray version. I would kind of compare it to like that little euphoric feeling of like kind of coming down from that. Got it. You were like, just.
Right.
Like, I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck just happened? Like that was real? Or was that made up? No, obviously that was real, right? Yeah. And so people don't understand how much energy really plays into it. And breathing. I'm guilty of not being perfect, but I
think most of us can say that.
Yes, for sure. But just being able to utilize that stuff, I think, is important for sure. Yeah,
and it's cool that you're teaching your kids these like basic skills of like the breathing techniques and how to regulate their own nervous system and cope in healthy ways. Yeah, kind of bringing it full circle. I'm not a parent yet. I want to be. I'm sure that being able to give that to your child is in a way nurturing of yourself. We talked about earlier, there's that like that abandoned child feeling that just wants to be cared for. Do you find it healing to be able to give your kids a different life?
100%. And it's something that I've always wanted for them, of course. And at a young age, my daughter's doing affirmations. I'm brave, I'm smart, I'm strong, Because self-confidence is so important. I didn't have it until now. Yeah. Right? I didn't have it until the age of 29 because I didn't feel worthy of anything. I felt worthless. My mom struggled with an eating disorder, so I never really had like a healthy relationship with food around me, and so I just never felt like I fit in anywhere.
Yeah.
I always was like either the bigger friend or, like, oh, we can do anything at your house, friend. Like, your mom won't care, which at the time was great. It was fun, but I needed not that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I also didn't need the way my dad parented me. Two completely different households.
Yeah.
Dad was strict. I don't even recall saying I love you or hearing it from my dad. I could count maybe on a handful of the last 29 years of my life that I remember that. No hugs, like no affection. I was basically there to be there out of spite of my mom, I feel.
Yeah.
Because my dad worked nights. He was a cop. My stepmom was there during the, like, she was there during the night with us. And so at the end of the day, did I really need to be there? No, I didn't. But, the spite of it is terrible. And so I never want my children to feel the way that I've ever felt. And so, for example, I don't push religion on my daughter at all. I told her the other day, I said, I want you to know that you can believe in whatever you want to believe in. Whatever that is, I'll respect it. Because I've been so pushed my whole life to be LDS. Sure, I was raised LDS, I was baptized, but I did not feel belonging there. I felt judged there. I didn't have friends there. That wasn't a community for me. That's not what but if she believes in that, sure,
And you're giving her the choice to come to it on her own.
100%.
You're not saying this is right, this is wrong. Even the opposite direction, saying.
I give my daughter a choice every time.
Yeah.
I say, so you have two choices. You can either do this, which I think is the best choice for you, or you can do this and there's a natural consequence.
Yeah.
And she always makes a choice.
That's great.
It's a choice because natural consequences are going to happen your entire life. She would even be on here telling you all about natural consequences because they're true. You stay up too late on a school night, guess what? You're still waking up at 6 and you're going to school.
Right.
It's just how it is. I told you the night before, you're going to be tired. I'm sorry. I love you. But she's emotionally aware. I did not disclose with her that I was in the hospital. And that was something that was hard for me to hide because my mom hid it from me when she went. And so I felt bad and I didn't want to mess her up in that way. And so I accidentally slipped and I said, I'm sorry, I was at the hospital. She goes, you told me you were in California. I said, you're right. I did. I lied. I said, I'm sorry that I lied to you. It's not right to lie. I know that. I just didn't want you to worry about me. She said, Mommy, if you're in the hospital, you need to tell me. I won't worry about you. You need to tell me. Because she cares and she's so emotionally aware that she was just like not even fazed by it. And so teaching that vulnerability to your children is super important. Like I'll set boundaries. Hey, I'm feeling very frustrated right now. I cannot answer any more questions until I regulate myself. She respects it. You have to communicate with your kids or they can't yell. You think yelling fixes anything? No. What that does, it makes them yell right back at you. And so that's something that I do take pride in, is having her know her emotions. She was singing in the car the other day about, these are my emotions of the day. Like, she was so funny, And she shares a light in her little generation right now. It's the most beautiful thing I could ever see. And she just wants to be a teacher. She just talks about being a teacher. She just wants to help people too. And so it's important to teach your kids to be kind and be emotionally aware and empathetic and compassionate and understanding. And recognize the difference between frustration, yelling, angry. Because she's like, my teacher's yelling at me. I was like, is she yelling at you? I will give you an example of what yelling is. Or is she talking loudly so everybody can hear? And she's being firm, right? There's a difference between being firm and yelling, right? So it's establishing what the difference is, and that's not taught a lot. But I did learn that. I would say I learned a lot of that skill set from working in residential treatment.
Yeah, I'm sure. And
I did a lot of I would write their classes, their social development skills life classes. And so we would do a lot of learning. And so I would sit there all day, not all day, and write these classes a month at a time. They had them every day. So it taught me a lot. And it also taught me how to handle my little boy. It was wild.
How old is he?
He's almost 2.
Okay.
Yes, but since his dad did pass away, I needed to make sure that I was going to be able to handle anything that came my way as far as being a full-on single parent to a little boy who needs a dad figure. Okay, so I had to learn how to be more patient, more kind, de-escalate situations, kind of see that other role and learn from these boys what they need. And also learn techniques on how to go about different situations, I hear you is such a understated statement. I hear you. I have to say that I hear you. I hear you. People want to be heard. How many times I just want people to say that? I hear you.
Right.
I'm sorry you're going through this shit.
Yeah.
It sucks. Tell me all about it. Get it all out, please. I'll listen the whole time, But I don't tolerate being yelled at, right? There's a difference. There's boundaries.
Sure.
So it taught me a lot. And I guess I am teaching my kids that in a subtle way.
Yeah. Amazing. Ashley, this has been an incredible conversation. I want to just end on one final note. For someone out there who may feel that they have immense purpose, a great amount of gifts, but they don't see an end in sight to their pain and to their suffering, what would be your words of encouragement to them to help them persevere and choose life at the end of the day?
So 2 things. I wrote a song the other day, and one of the lyrics was, I learned that the bad things don't stay bad forever. They're just temporary. And I would also say, I forgot the question.
It's all good.
What was the question?
For someone who feels that they have an immense amount of purpose and a lot of gifts to offer the world, but they don't see an end in sight to their pain or their suffering, what do you tell them at the end of the day to help them choose life?
You can do hard things. You've done it before. What's one more? And the bad doesn't last forever. I've learned that it's all temporary, and showing up is the most important part. Waking up, showing up, not giving up, not giving in, and asking for help if you need is one of the most important things for sure.
Absolutely. I want to give you a chance to shout out the groups that you've been holding. If anyone listening is in the area and wants to join, how can they connect with you? How can they be a part of this?
Yeah, so I have an Instagram. I'm not super active on the Instagram. You can Google that Fox 13 News, and I'll have my link on there. It's Come As You Are. I think there's a period in it, so I don't know exactly what the ad is, but it's Come As You Are. We're on Instagram for sure. And just trying to get more locally out there. I am planning on hosting another event, but also all my pages are public. Message me anytime. We can connect and find you resources and get you connected to our, we have a little Discord group me community chat. So I'm working on being better about posting on Instagram, but just TikTok as well, I would say, is where people would see updates from my side. if they want to connect on there.
Awesome. Thank you. For anyone listening too, I encourage you that if you heard something today in this conversation that moves something in you, even a little bit, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Share it and let them know that they are heard. And the goal of this conversation and ones like it is not to necessarily go viral on the internet and have millions of views, but it's to change one person's life. And if you change one person's life, it's as if you change the world in its entirety. So with that, we'll be signing off. Thanks for joining me, Ashley.
Thanks for having me.